Plenty of
Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 USA and Canada 4 edition, where transformation begins. By becoming a sponsor at Travel Tech, you'll gain access to an exclusive platform to showcase your brand to a global audience. Here's why you should sponsor our event. Travel Tech provided knowledge to more than 167 countries. Travel Tech is the largest online event in the travel and hospitality industry, reaching the milestone of over 1,500,000 unique impressions in its events, delivering to the world knowledge, free education, inclusion, and effective networking for evolution in the industry, being an excellent means of showcasing your brand. Over 80,000 people attended our live events, generating more than 19,000 hospitality and travel-focused leads. Introducing Travel Tech Academy, a platform offering free courses designed to share valuable knowledge from the best professionals in the travel and hospitality industry. Our mission is to provide inclusive learning opportunities for those who may not have the means to gain qualifications otherwise. With Travel Tech Academy, you'll have access to top-notch resources and insights that can help propel your career in the travel and hospitality sector. Over 3,500 professionals have already taken the course on our platform, acquiring knowledge and improving their professional profile. Many professionals, through Travel Tech Academy courses, have managed to find better job opportunities in the job market. For more information, visit traveltechacademy.com. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions. Brazil and Portugal, taking place between May 23rd and 25th. APAC, happening between July 11th and 13th. LATAM and Spain, taking place between September 12th and 15th. EMEA happening between November 14th and 18th, thus concluding the events of 2023. And to become a sponsor of Travel Tech, get in touch through our website, traveltechspace.com, or by email at geraldo@traveltechspace.com. Travel Tech, what else?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 US and Canada. I'm so sorry I made a mistake, and that is why we're late 12 minutes. I'm so sorry about that. It was my mistake. I'll welcome everybody and all the attendants that we're going to have today because of the issue I did. We are trying to fix all the communications right now from our backend with our engineer of software. So welcome Shane Robbins from Cloudbats, Steve Caron from The Modern Hotelier, Clis Gamblinski from Aggregate Technology, Benjamin, Vice President of Quick Test, Pablo Delgado, co-founder and CEO at Mirai, Greg Cabrionetti, President at HSMI LA and DOS and DOM of Milestone Inc. Welcome everyone to Travel Tech. If it's your first time listening to Travel Tech has been created to share knowledge to our trend globally. So I will start right now because we're late. I'm so sorry for what happens. And let's give the 3 minutes for all our speakers here to start the presentation. So the first one is going to be Pablo Delgado from Mirai, CEO and co-founder. You have 3 minutes to present your company and yourself. Please go ahead. Thank you to be here.
I have 3 minutes? Oh, I thought it was 30 seconds.
Okay, it's longer. It's like a long presentation. Anyway, it's gonna be shorter. Well, thank you, Vinicius, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Pablo Delgado. I'm the CEO of the company called Mirai. And Mirai is a company that, let's take 30 seconds. That we started working with 25 years ago with hotels and the direct channel. Our goal as a company is to have hotels boost their direct channel and and explain them or help them how to compete with the OTAs to drive more direct revenue and to get more profitability in the distribution. We do technology, we do booking engine, we do website, and we do meta search, and we also provide marketing services and distribution consulting. So very happy to be here. I'm based in Miami and looking to grow the business in the US and Latin America is my role here in Miami. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Pablo. Welcome to Travel Tech. Let's go with Greg Cabrionetti, a person that no needs to be present. Everybody knows him in the US. So Greg is the Director of Sales and Director of Marketing for Milestone Inc. and President of HSMI LA. Greg, please, your turn, my friend.
Thanks, Vinny. And this is a great event. And thanks for welcoming me back. In my full time, as Vinny mentioned, I am Senior Director of Sales for Milestone. We partner with hotel brands, boutique, independent hotels, supporting their digital marketing software and services. As you also mentioned, in my spare time, I volunteer for Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association International. I lead our Los Angeles chapter. If anyone's in the area or you're visiting LA, please look me up. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Greg. Let's go with the third speaker that we have today, Chris Gamblinski, as a very good friend of mine, Vice President of Aggregate Intelligence. Chris, please, your turn, my friend.
Thank you so much, Vinicius. Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. So thank you for invitation. My name is Chris. I work at Aggregate Intelligence, which is a company that is an expert in collecting, processing, and analyzing big travel data, mainly around the airlines, hotels, and rent-a-cars. Personally, my background is revenue management for airlines and hotels, and also some experience in travel tech industries around revenue management and big data processing. So happy to be here and happy to be helpful if only I can.
Thank you so much, Chris. Welcome to Travel Tech. Right now, let's go to Benjamin Desvagnes. Benjamin, welcome, Vice President of Sales for Quick Test. Welcome to be here. Please, it's your turn.
All right, so nice to meet you all. Quick Text is a company that delivers virtual assistants for hotels, usually towards the higher end of the market, okay? And our goal is to help hotels leverage artificial intelligence in order to deliver instant customer service to their guests, at the same time as reducing the workload that the staff has to handle, because most of the time, guests have very repetitive questions. So automation enables, at the same time, better service, and also enables the hotel staff to focus on, let's say, tasks that really add value to the property instead of doing the same low-value task over and over. And there is a third area, which is probably the reason why I'm here. It's because when you're able to actually interact with customers, you're much better at guiding them through the sales process. And I guess we will see it during the presentation, but you see this kind of new technology enables hotels to be much more proactive in sales and actually find new ways to increase their direct revenues. So that's us. Okay, nice to meet you all, and I'm looking forward to this panel.
Welcome, Benjamin. Thank you to be here. Let's go with Stephen Karan, the Modern Hotelier co-host, and also make part of HSMI. Welcome, Steve.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Steve Karen. I'm the co-host of the Modern Hotelier podcast, alongside with me with David Malili, who's the host, and John Bumhofer, he's our producer. The idea of the show was really get to know leaders, executives, and influencers in the hospitality industry, behind what we see on LinkedIn. So we see these people post every day, but we really want to get to know them better, understand where they came from, and get their thoughts on hot topics in the industry. We've only had one season so far, but we were recently just rated the #4 podcast in hospitality by the International Hospitality Institute. So my day-to-day job, I have passion for hotel technology startups. I've worked at companies like Stay in Touch PMS, Stay Flexi PMS, and now I am at a company called WorkSpot that is the complete back of the house solution. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Vinny.
Thank you so much, Steve, to be here. And let's go with Shane Robbins, Director of Cloudbeds and Director of Sales and Marketing, if I'm not wrong, Shane. It's your turn, my friend.
Fantastic. Thanks, Vinny. Appreciate it. And great to join everyone here. So yeah, I'm Director of Product Marketing at Cloudbeds. So Cloudbeds really started about 10 years ago. We're a unified hospitality platform, really built with the hotelier in mind, focused on large and small independent properties, really looking at building a comprehensive platform marketplace of integrations and offering, PMS, channel manager, booking engine, but all those pieces connected with things like revenue management, guest communications and engagement, reporting analytics, really focused on simplifying operations, driving revenue, and ultimately delighting guests, which is the most important part of the hospitality spot and for a lot of our customers. And so, yeah, we're really excited to be here. I've been in technology for 20 years working in product marketing, worked on the OTA space and now the SaaS space.
Thank you so much to be here with us. So I'm so sorry I made a confusion. We have more than 80 people waiting for this, and I make the fault for this. So I have everybody posting everything again. But let's move forward. For the people that is listening to us, don't be ashamed. Please set your questions during the entire session, as today we will discuss directly how to improve direct revenue through digital marketing, data analytics, guest experience, and revenue management. So we're going to discuss very serious points that normally we speak about this for the last 3 years already in travel tech, but a lot of things have changed on the last 3 years. And we have a lot of artificial intelligence coming through, and a lot of things on the social media and with blockchains. But guest experience and data analytics and digital marketing is still a key for hotels moving forward. And I have 22 years working in this field and more than 57 countries around the globe. And I still see that hotels still have a gap in that point. And what we see is that everybody's moving forward with AI and everything. That's something good. It's not something wrong. But what we see is they're making a gap for what they need to do first. So I think we can start. And for all the people that's listening to us, and for all of them that listen to us later on, we are here to help you. And Travel Tech has this social education commitment with all our public. So be our guest, send your questions, send your comments. We'll be more than glad to answer you back. And we have a special, really special. I'm very excited to be here with all this big sharks on the market. So let's go. Let's start with Pablo. Pablo, we're talking about costs, hotels, demand, and direct channels. But how we do that? So the question is, what are the options and the cost for hotels to get real demand, incrementality, and drive it to their direct channel? I'm gonna repeat the question. What are the options and the cost for hotels to get real demand, incrementality, and drive it to their direct channel? All yours, my friend.
All right. Well, first of all, my experience in these 20 years working with hotels is that marketing is an area of expertise that is difficult especially for independent hotels, right? Big chains, they have a lot of teams and a lot of knowledge in their houses, but the independent small groups is very difficult. So, well, everything is difficult for independents. Let's be honest, right? So marketing is confusing. So they don't understand what is the lower funnel, the mid funnel, and the upper funnel. And the everything is like, okay, I want a lot of demand, a lot of visits for a very little cost, right? So that's what in marketing is called a lower funnel, and that's the brand protection ads or meta search. That typically is the low volume but very high profitability, right? So you can get a good ROI for those investments, but that's not incremental demand for you. That's a channel shift that you're moving away a booking from an OTA and driving it to direct, which is great because you're saving a lot of money in a way, but that's not purely incremental, right? In order to get incremental demand, you need to tackle the upper funnel, which is much more complicated. It's a big volume, but it's very low profitability. Low profitability compare, I mean, if you measure in the same ROI metric than in the lower funnel, but if you see a different way, which is what is the cost that you are willing to spend to get an incremental guest, right? So you have an empty room. So the question is how to what extent you are willing to spend 60-70% of that revenue to get an incremental client, an incremental guest that didn't know you before, right? So that's the right approach. And there is a huge gap in the hotel industry. They want to tackle the high funnel, the upper funnel, which is the incrementality, with a metric of ROI in the lower funnel. So in other words, they want to spend 20% cost to bring incrementality, and that's impossible from a marketing perspective. So you need to understand how the upper funnel works. And you have a lot of options, such as first is social networks, especially TikTok and Instagram is a great way, a great source to get incrementality, which is the dream and the planning stage of the travel journey of customers. Is a great place to be there. In meta search, you have in TripAdvisor, you have, for instance, sponsor placements. In Google, you have property promotion ads, which is drives you incremental demand for a decent return. A decent return, I mean, maybe 40%, 50%. That's the cost of those clients. And prospecting, which is another way of bringing incrementality to your hotel and to your direct channel, which is a double win, right? And in the OTA side, you have a lot of options too. You have Expedia travel ads, you have booking native ads, which again, if you play the upper funnel, you need to understand that you need to pay a lot of money to bring those clients to that, so that they are interested in your hotel. But my concern, Vinicius, is that hotels typically want a high return in every marketing investment, no matter where in the funnel is. I see Craig nodding, which is I feel that he agrees because he understands hotels, and it's a very confusing for hotels. And I agree, and I buy that. But at the same time, they are losing a great opportunity, and they're putting the red carpet to the OTAs. They're just giving away those placements. So OTAs dominate the upper funnel, and they get a lot of bookings for a little cost for them. But hotels can do many, many more things in the upper funnel and drive more demand. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Pablo, for the insights. And concerning when we talk about, for example, what they spend, they want to have a lot of incoming. But concerning what you just said, we can do a difference between luxury, between also resorts, and because we have luxury resorts, we have resorts, and also we have, for example, corporate, and we have hybrid corporate, and then have small hotels. We have a lot of different kind of hotels. What is going to be your opinion if you need to tell them where they set some money to get void? For example, Pablo, if you tell them right now, if you tell them to spend money on Google, you're going to tell them to spend money to have RM, automation, or go to social media. Because everything that I'm requesting is concerning depends on the hotel. What is your opinion, Pablo?
Well, the first thing is I mean, if you have a limited budget in the upper funnel, I think you need to set your KPIs, right? So your KPI is branding, or is transaction based, or is exposure, or is customer service. So the upper funnel doesn't follow the same rules as the lower funnel in terms of a KPI. So I would say from a branding experience, the very, very upper funnel, I would definitely go to social media, which is fantastic. And is, I would say, it's on top of many hotels. So this is room to grow easily now. It would be much more difficult in 2-3 years from now. But if you were focusing on profitability, exclusive profit, you have I don't know, exclusive inventory and specific dates. I mean, it definitely depends on what you want. You could be occupancy, branding. If you want just, I mean, the upper funnel has different rules. So to me, it's the same rule for everyone. Definitely, if you have a limited budget, I would recommend set your KPI and choose your right placement. If you have enough budget, go to the next step and then to the next step. But in my experience, hotels don't have that unlimited budget in the upper funnel, so they have to stop at some point, right? That is setting the KPI is the most difficult part to me.
Greg, your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, Pablo, you're spot on. From what we've seen, we kind of, our view becomes clouded when there's new technology, when there's new solutions. To step back and to look at the fundamentals, right, and the marketing funnel, understanding where each element kind of fits in, and how can that technology allow you to do your job a little bit more efficiently. So I know, for us, when I refer to those fundamentals, right, one is discoverability. Right? How can you get more visibility for guests searching for options in your market? I think the second, as you work further down the funnel into consideration, right, those KPIs, Pablo's spot on, right? You'd like to see that your traffic, is more qualified, meaning that, maybe traffic your falling year over year, but your booking engine entrances or your revenue is up, right? So you're suggesting that, maybe those channels that are providing production are better quality. And then, lastly, so many hotels fail to, revisit or look at the fact of what makes them unique, right? What are their unique selling points and how can we highlight those throughout our marketing? So, but, Pablo, I think that's, in line with sort of what you're seeing. We're seeing the same thing. Those are some specifics.
Steven, Chris, Shane, Benjamin.
I like what Craig said about being, kind of not forgetting who you are as a hotel. Every hotel has their own personality. There's a reason people want to go to these hotels, whether it's an experience, type of rooms or something. Every hotel is unique, and not forgetting that. And that's using that draw to bring people in. I think it's great.
Awesome. Nobody else?
No, I mean, just to add on to that, I think that uniqueness is really important when you both think about how you make yourself visible, how you kind of present yourself when people are looking to book. The OTAs or niche OTAs or local regional OTAs that you're looking to work with, even to drive direct revenue, that visibility is important. So keeping that uniqueness, not only in your brand, but also in your packaging and your rate structure, and all those things help to breed that uniqueness that drives lookers to your site and helps them further engage with something that they can only find with you.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
And we also just to add a little bit, we cannot forget going for an upper funnel. We can be driven by our uniqueness and our budgets, but we also need to remember who's our target customer and where is he in that upper funnel, right? So the personality of us, like Steve said, but also personality of the targeted customers.
Great. So let's go with the second question to Greg. Greg, we're seeing three trends emerging for consultants in hotels. So tell us, please, what are the digital marketing trends in 2023 to drive more direct bookings, please?
Yeah, I touched on a couple of them, but I'll go further with one specific. So we touched on, the topic of today's conversation, right? Driving more direct revenue, right? When we think about that, right, oftentimes the reason why we don't is because, I'm competing with these bigger players, right? Whether it be the brands or OTAs in some cases. And it stops there, the exploration. I think why I'm encouraged is I'm seeing a lot more, smaller groups, management companies, even boutique hotels starting to adopt more advanced type of search strategies, acquisition strategies. And it's not terribly difficult. It's just, it's obviously, one is knowing what options are out there. And two is finding what your strengths are and executing, right? A perfect example is, search engine optimization. I know for a lot of hoteliers and for me in my past life, that was, a black box, right? But if you took some, some best practices from OTAs, from brands, you'll find that, they're laser focused on the user experience, right? A boutique hotel could do the same exact thing, right? It's pulling the right levers, it's doing the right things to allow you to compete or to level the playing field. Anyways, that's I know we talked about discoverability and the product itself, but I think often your channel contribution tends to get cloudy when the status quo is I can't compete with those guys. I challenge most hotels to revisit that mindset. I think you'll be surprised.
Okay. Somebody else that wants to say something, Benjamin? You are in mute, my friend.
Yes, I'm switching to voice again. So in fact, I completely relate to the idea of changing the mindset, because it's not necessarily a question about it's not necessarily about like the money you have. It's also about the means you will deploy in order to kind of convert the customers you have. Because many times, like it was said before, like of course you need to manage the top of the funnel, but today, like there is also a lot that is lost in like when you have the customer because you're not able to convince him. So basically, if you are a smaller property, for example, here in Mexico, I know a lot of smaller properties in Tulum that actually, because they don't have so much budget for the top of the funnel, then they focus on getting the demands they can, but making sure that they maximize the conversion. So no matter what size you are, there is something that you can do. And actually, when you're a smaller property, you need to focus even more on the levers that you can use in order to convert, because you don't have so much money to spend on marketing. So actually, like, and that's interesting that we had the voice of a consultant, because that's probably the properties that need more like consulting on strategies, because they have it, they can spend less money.
Great. What I see also that every time that we go to a hotel, for example, if we go to the data analytics, a lot of people say that we cannot compete against OTAs. Okay, why? Because if we take Expedia and we take Booking.com, they invest $7 billion in marketing. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you can have a 20, 30, or 40% on direct sales. We have a few hotels that have 100%. We have a discussion with Pablo 2 years ago about this. 100%, I think it's quite impossible. You can have like some Hollywood stars that have their own hotels and they have 100%, but that's something different. But you can chase that if you check also your PMS. You understand Okay, forget about COVID. It's a long time ago already because the time flies. But you need to understand your public. You need to understand where they're looking to you. It's a lot of data that you need to check, and maybe sometimes hotels don't look at that. And contracting companies that we have here, I think that can make their way easier to get more ROI. You agree or not? If you don't agree, please go ahead. Nobody? Okay. Nobody. Okay. Let's go to the third question. So,
Vince, let me say one thing that I used to work a long time ago for an OTA, and I was talking with the one of the founders of that OTA. It's a small OTA, none of the biggest, but a founder of that OTA was when we had a discussion. He said, for as long as our investment in marketing, social campaigns, Google AdWords, etc., bring back for every dollar we invest, it brings us $1.1 in revenue. We pump up maximum into the budget. So we don't plan the budget. We look at the return on our actions, and as long as it's above one that we spent for $1, we do the maximum, and that's how they work. So maybe this is something that OTAs kind of figured out because maybe the budgets are higher, and it's easier to actually play with the money. But if you've got a lot of money and a bigger budget, you can actually do different types of channels, sources, different activities, different times, lots of analysis, and then you get the return. And once you get the return, you're there. You don't have to worry about it's an investment, not a cost anymore.
of course, of course. If we look as an okay, it's always an investment. That I'm pretty sure. So let's go with the third question that we have here. That is going to be for Chris Klavinsky. So, Chris, after AI, ML, personalization, guest experience, is data analytics a new trend in hotel and airline industry? It is. I'm going to repeat the question. After EI, ML, personalization, guest experience, is data analytics a new trend in hotel and airline industry?
Yes, that's a very good question, because trend is theoretically something that comes in suddenly, takes a lot of attention, and then usually goes away. But in terms of data analytics, I think we have been there. But before I answer that question, I want to comment on some of the quotes that have happened, mostly on the previous session, because I was listening, where we said that we tend to talk about, hotels don't embrace technology enough, or a hotel fails at different things, and OTAs are better, or airlines do some things better than hotels. And you've mentioned today that we speak about all these innovations for the last 2 years, and a lot has changed. We have to give some hotels a little break, and maybe Pablo, you will back me up in here as an independent chain, because as you said, it's not always easy. In hotel, if you take the perspective, hotel industry, only 39 years ago, they have acquired guest-centric PMS. Only 11 years ago, they have acquired cloud PMS. And 6 years ago, there's cloud. With the cloud comes big data. With big data comes ML and AI. And now we've got this personalization, VR, data-driven decisions, reinforcement learning, and all that. And if you think about it, hotels that just introduced 11 years ago cloud PMS solutions, and not all, because many are still on servers. The change of technology and the speed of that change is overwhelming. So from that perspective, it's very difficult to talk to hotels about, why don't we introduce this personalization? So you have 15 different sources, different types of data. Let's analyze that and all that. And you have to forecast, but don't worry about historical data. It's no longer valid anymore. Let's look at the real-time things. I think it's just too much for the hotel industry. Just to give a credit on that, and to talk about trends for data analytics. The legacy between airlines and hotels is very different, because hotels since the 60s They had GDSs, all data was discipline. It was there. It was obligatory because it was the safety, the passports, the crossing of the countries, visas, rights, and all that. Hotels, they only started basically 11 years ago to start looking at the data and start looking what they can do, how they can grasp this data. So the legacy is very different, but the recent 5-7 years has been so fast for both of the airlines that both of them have to catch up. And the underline of all the innovations that we've mentioned is ability to analyze the data, because we are being overwhelmed with the data. We have too much of it from many different sources, and conversation about personalization, any conversation about driving your revenue from this channel to that channel, or even investing in campaigns, it all requires proper data analysis, and proper data analysis requires proper data and insight. So sometimes driving direct revenue is not only about the driving skills of a driver, but the car that they have inherited from the parents. And so we gotta understand that similar to getting a new car, there's an investment, return of it. There's also a lot of risks that we need to take into consideration, like the quality of data, availability of the data, the talents and the skills. As I have been involved in a couple of revenue management and pricing across different industries activities, I realized that hotels and airlines are not really giving too much scientific approach to revenue management and pricing, where a lot of data analysis happens. So these are the things that kind of are consequences of that overspeeding data and technology evolution that we are facing now. So to answer the question, I don't think it's a trend. I think it's a necessity that we've had for years, but now we've come to realize the importance of it.
That's true. I'm speaking about data analytics for 2006. So we're in 2023. So it's 19 years. So it's a long time ago. I'm speaking about 10 years for data analytics, for revenue management, for how they need to build a strategy. It's not only revenue management. I think that right now, I don't know if the panel here is at the same point or agree with me. But when we speak right now, for example, as a revenue manager, is all the times, okay, let's go with an EI, let's go with DRM. But sometimes they do like everything's linear, that is, in my point of view, is not correct at all. You need to double check. For example, if I work with a tour operator, okay, if I'm Oasis from Cancun, for example, or for Hawaii, where I have, for example, 6,000 rooms, I clearly understand that why you're going to pay 35, 40% of a commission. That is clear because you have too many. You have 6,000 rooms, or 3,500,000 rooms. That is a lot. But if you have 500, 400, 200 rooms, why you're gonna put like a right line, and your strategy is gonna be the same in all channels, without taking into account the percentage what do you pay. In my point of view, in 22 years in this market around the world, I don't see that it's correct. I see that you need to understand each public you have. If you're selling too much and you're in a hotel, or if you have a chain of hotels, but your chain of hotels is not huge hotels, you are in between 300 to 80 rooms. You cannot set everything on the line, everything equal. You need to prioritize. I'm so sorry for. I'm getting nervous. I speak six languages. Go ahead, please.
No, but that's exactly right. But it comes from all that know-how comes from analysis of different types of data, because hotels usually know well who they have in hotel. They don't necessarily know who is in the market, who is the demand. So even if you have a 6,000 room hotel and you say it's going to fill up 40%, but that is that an assumption of the demand, or is that an assumption of hotel reality? And that we don't know, and that we need to analyze. And so
Of course.
all these things come down to the data analytics, which is the core of all our activities, whether it's marketing, it's revenue, pricing, distribution, or anything else.
I think, Chris, you bring up a good point, and I think Pablo brought that up earlier. It's about what are the things you want to measure, right? And because you see that, with hotels, with any sort of company, this whole big data piece and analysis paralysis can set in, and you have a lot of things you're not quite sure what you want to do with it. And it doesn't have to be complicated to start with. You can start small. If you want to affect revenue or RevPAR, if you want to affect occupancy, if you want to affect loyalty with rebookings, and just looking at the data that you have and say, what's the thing that I want to affect? What is this thing I want to understand? And start to expand from there. And don't get scared about the entry of the data analytics, because it's going to be there. It's really about what is the problem you want to try to solve, and take it one bit at a time to try to solve that.
Exactly. That's a great point, Shane. Stop worrying about how artificial intelligence will take away your job or change your business. Just focus on your core things that you want to focus on and deal with that. That's exactly the point, Shane.
Vinicius, I have a quick comment.
Please go ahead.
Disagree with Chris. Partial disagreement. I don't think many independent hotels understand who their clients are, to be honest. I think they know what their channels are, but I seriously doubt that they understand who their guests are. They might know where they come from, but they have very little clue about the segmentation, about why they chose the hotel, actually how they booked, or what time of the day, or have no clue about the booking pattern. They know nothing about their clients except that they might like a pillow of this type or this other type, but they have no clue about how they found the hotel, why they booked the hotel, and why they chose a specific channel. So they know very little, and this is why OTAs are killing them, because OTAs, on the other hand, I always say that guests spend 6 minutes in an OTA and a week in the hotel, and the OTAs know 98% of the hotel, of the client, and the hotels know pretty much nothing. Right, it's with the client, spending a week in the hotel, which is a contradiction, right? But anyway, this is the way it is. To me, is not a technology problem. Technology has been there for ages. It's a matter of education about ability, about capability. Hotels have been sitting on a mine of data, which is the PMS. Even been an obsolete and rigid PMS, the data was there, and nobody, or very few, even had the interest to, hey, we have thousands of records here of people who spend thousands of nights here. Let's tap this mine. There's very little interest, very little knowledge. And to me, part of the problem is these buzzwords about AI, machine learning. Everything sounds so complicated that it's overwhelming for many hotels to start with. And I totally agree with you, Shane. That is, start small. And instead of big data, start with high quality little data instead of big data. Forget about big data. Start with something small you can manage. And even with a spreadsheet and just a small email marketing tool, you can do a lot of things. It's just a matter of wanting or be willing to learn more than the CapEx investment. I think the approach is wrong from the very beginning for many.
Yes, in fact, many times, like my training was finance. I'm a quant originally, okay. And what I see a lot is that people start focusing on data that have no value, because sometimes when you do things wrong without a strategy, you end up using data that will tell you that you're winning something on one side, but you're not measuring how much you're losing on the other side. So, for example, you might increase your the revenue or what you're quantifying a little bit, but you are destroying another part of the business that you're not measuring. So, in fact, data are a good tool, but the first thing that you need to have is understand where you want to go, and this quantitative glorification that we have, which is necessary, often overshadows the need for a clear plan. Because if we start the polemic, maybe people are kind of hiding themselves behind data, because they're often afraid to make a decision. But the problem of data is that on one side it's very useful, but on the other side it only talks to you about yesterday. Okay.
And I think great point. And I think that's why real-time data is so important, because we want to fix things the same week, right? We don't want to wait, we don't want to wait a month to be fixing things, so these problems. So when you can have real-time data, and I think independent hotels, I think they're learning. And I agree. I don't think, they were as much on data and learning from data as they could have been. But I think right now, with the technology and property management systems that are improving for these independent hotels, they're having more access to data, and they are learning more quickly as far as targeting their private or targeting their audience and what type of guests are specifically going to come to, their hotel that might not be in a huge city that drives a lot of traction. So I think that's it, kind of to that independent point. I think the independent section is kind of turning that point, realizing they need to understand data, and then trying to figure out who exactly is our target audience and why are they coming to Spokane, Washington, or something like that.
Thank you so much, everyone. Shane, you want to say something? If not, I go to the next question to Benjamin.
No, go ahead.
Okay, let's go. Benjamin? Yeah, let's go. Okay, so we have here tech innovation is only about better product. It's not only more and more and more of the same. It's also about finding new processes and ways to create value that are different in nature with what was done before. So, Benjamin, is this only about software improvement? What are it about?
Well, I mean, when you spoke, I heard the song, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Okay. In fact, what matters is really, we've always been doing the same 5 things in our life. Like we're eating, we're drinking, we're going to the bathroom, we're sleeping, and when we're lucky, we have a little bit of joy before sleeping. But sorry.
It's okay.
The idea is, we change the way we do things, but we still do the same things. So in fact, technology enables us to do things at a higher intensity. So, for example, right now, everyone is speaking about personalization, which actually is enabled by a technology that is more and more able to interact with the customer and understand the customer. Okay, so in short, what I'm trying to say is that what I'm seeing right now with, for example, the growth of artificial intelligence, etc., is that we are doing again what we were doing 20 years ago. Like we were able to go to trade show and talk to people, understand who they were, and have a real relationship with them. Except that now with AI, we had a step where we moved to the first generation of digital, and we started to use self-service. So people changed the way they accessed hotel reservations. Okay, instead of going to talk to their local travel agent, they started to go online and do their process themselves. But right now there is something that is missing, which is this ability to get a personalized relationship. The thing is, just now the scale is very big. So basically, you see, it's not about adding one more software, etc. It's about how do I do when I have already created a pipe that is easy to use for customers that want to book. How can I convince people to book? Leveraging probably the same techniques that you were leveraging 20 years ago when you were going to trade shows, speaking to travel agents, or where travel agents were speaking to your clients, trying to convince them to book with you. This is something that has been forgotten for 20 years. Now it's going back with a new technology, but basically it's still the same techniques. Actually, I spend my day talking to digital people and explaining how salespeople work, you see? And it's not like I deal with AI, but what I'm trying to explain to people is that, for example, if they want to embrace AI, they just not need to add something else to their tech stack. They need to change their mindset. They need to move from just like thinking, oh, but I've optimized the pipe, so it's super easy. What it's actually about is changing the way you think, so that now you understand that there are some people that want an easy way to book, and there are some people that want to be convinced or to be proactively taken care of. Okay, and that is the beginning of the conversation. So technology doesn't make things more complicated. It just enables you to do more stuff. But what you need to have is the ability to understand that there are two ways to get a customer. The customer that knows what he wants. In this case, you need to make it you need to be visible and make things very easy for them. And there is the undecided customer, which happens to be a category of customers that right now is very easy to capture because nobody is taking care of him. So the hotels that want to expand their direct bookings at a low cost, it might be also by trying to have a strategy that is about, let's say, not doing exactly what the OTAs are doing, but trying to bring what is missing to their customers. And like as I said, like many customers do not know where they want to book. They just need someone to take them by the hands. So if you bring this strategy to digital, you start thinking about some tools. I'm speaking only about what I know. You start thinking about some tools, but you see the thinking that you have is not technology based. It's common sense based, and that's what we need to think about. Because many times when you think about technology, you're just adding one more gadget to your tech stack, and that's a problem because your tech stack end up making no sense and having no global logic. Okay, so if I summarize, I somehow I lost control of what I was saying. It happens. Too much data. Too much data, I think. But the idea is technology is not the problem. The strategy is what you need to focus on. Right now, for example, AI arrives. You should not focus on AI. You should focus on what you want to do with it. And for example, maybe it is bringing to the digital world what was working very well 20 years ago, which was delivering personal service to people when they were going to their travel agent, except that now everything happens online. There is no complexity, there is no complication. You know where you're going, and there is no need for buzzwords or complex explanations.
So to do a resume, the most important is like to make a point on looking for at least 3 5 years where you're going to approach your hotel and how you want to sell your hotel and making a strategy for the next 3 5 years.
Yes,
Yes,
that's a given. But I'm also saying that technology changes the way you work. Okay, so here what I'm trying to say is
sure.
that before hotels used to think that only making optimizing your sales pipe was the only thing that was possible. But now all of a sudden technology enables you to target another kind of customers, which are, for example, the undecided customers, and move your sales process from self-service self-service only, for example, to assisted and proactive sales. You see, so what I'm trying to say is two things. Point number one: technology is not complicated, and it's not about technology. It's about knowing where you want to go and what are the sales strategies that you want to do. The second thing is, technology itself, okay, enables you to it's not about adding technology. It's about changing your process. Like all of a sudden, you become able to have a proactive sales strategy. So you need to probably embrace these strategies and have the technologies that enable it. But you also need to know that some technologies transform your sales process. For example, the fact that you add, a virtual assistant to your hotel will change a little bit the work of the call center. You see, they will receive fewer calls for check-in time and parking, but maybe they will get what we call leads. So they would be able to say, oh, this customer has made this request. He has been to my booking engine. He has not booked. What do I do now? Okay. And basically, technology is not only incremental, it's also disruptive in the sense that it changes the way that your human team or your processes work. I don't know if I was clear. I'm sorry. I just improvised.
For me, it's clear. For me, it's really clear. Sharing, Steve, something? If not, I go to the next one. I want to apologize before I proceed with all of you because of my mistake. We lost more than 100 persons that was waiting to join us, and I closed the last session, and I need to apologize for all the attendance. After we finish the session, we will send for all the 700 persons that register for Travel Tech, because at the moment we're having 30 people online only. The previous, we have 300 persons, 92 online all the time. And that was my mistake. It's the first time that happened to me. And 4 years, right now it's 4 years of Travel Tech. Happens. It's the first time. Happens for everyone. I'm so sorry for all of you and all the attendants that because of my fault, all the alert for everybody to come and join us was missing up. I'm so sorry for all of you also and all the attendants, but we will do everything after this session finish to send everything we're speaking here. And I'm so sorry for that. Never happens. It's the first time. Always have a first time in life. So let's take it in something humor. Nothing I can do. So let's go with the next question. Next question for Stephen Karan. Stephen, how can hotels utilize technology to drive revenue through the guest experience?
What a great question. What a great question. You know,
Sure.
from being, you know, in the kind of upsell space with mobile check-in before this, you know, I got to see a lot of hotels do some interesting things, and a lot of hotels are thinking at, you know, upselling once a guest gets on premise, and it actually is starting before that. It's starting at the booking process. You know, guests now are not only looking for a place to stay, a place to sleep, a hotel to go. They're looking for experiences to incorporate while they're there. So, you know, during that booking process, we can incorporate, or hotels can incorporate those experiences. You know, things as easy as having flowers there when you arrive, or champagne, but also including hyper local packages as well, getting your community involved. So let's do some brewery tours. I was talking to a hotel here in Colorado. They're doing sunset hikes with their guests. So those things that are not only going to showcase your property as a whole, but the community that's supporting your property. So I think, you know, to my first point, you know, start upselling and booking those experiences during the booking process. And then also during that mobile check-in process, before that guest arrives, let's be honest, they're getting jacked about their vacation. If you're at a kind of leisure spot, you know, they're ready to spend some money, right? So develop or use an app or use some technology that does have a mobile check-in. These are, you know, incredibly easy upsells that can increase the guest experience. I am somebody, if there's early check-in available and I'm arriving before the check-in time, I will purchase it every time. But also things like airport shuttles, even having a unique welcome experience. I was at a hotel in Boise, Idaho, and they had local breweries and wine. And I thought that was awesome. I'm a beer guy. I'm from Wisconsin. So, you know, give me a local Boise beer and I'm a happy guest. And then once they get into the room, let's incorporate QR codes or, you know, in text messaging where they get a text, hey, hope your stay is great. If there's anything you need, let us know. But in QR codes, let's increase those impulse buys. And also let's incorporate the experiences at your hotel into those impulse buys. You know, if you have a bar, let's let the guests know about the happy hours that are going on. If you have a common area, let's say you have campfires, you can upsell s'mores and have campfires at night. You know, anything. I saw a hotel, another one. They had a Netflix and chill special, where obviously every hotel has Netflix, but what they do is bring you popcorn, they bring you a bottle of wine, and it was part of their romance package where they had this. So even incorporating things that are already at your hotel, it might not be unique to the experience, but something that can increase that guest experience, that maybe the guest wants to relax and, you know, take some time off. You know, those things are all important too. And then staying top of mind for guests through their CRM, you know, let them know about the fun things you have, let them know the packages you have coming up, the experiences you have, and keeping them in the loop about what's happening in your hotel. I think down the line, we're going to see AR and VR be more incorporated to that. That might be a different panel, but personally, I'm excited to wake up and put on my headset and do yoga in the morning. So I think those are just a few kind of different ways hotels can bring revenue to the guest experience. Obviously, every hotel is different, but a few ideas.
Another thing that we can include, for example, is that when we talk about guest experience, on my point of view, we need to include a destination. For example, if your hotel, they have a system of upselling, and you can have your cooperation with or incoming or some, I don't know, let's say that I'm Californian and I want to do some, I don't know, I do surf, for example. I want to do surf or I want to do scuba diving. It will be cool that I read a QR code and I have that and the option to book directly with the hotel and don't need to go to reception and start to recall, here I have to impress something. Right now, nobody tried to read nothing. So if you don't have an upselling, maybe you can build it or you can do it directly with the booking engine. Most of all the booking engines, that's Mirarios, the ones that have like Cloudbed, for example, Book Online Now, Mirai, and all the others, you can include those experiences directly with the hotel. So you can make that easier for the guests. Also, when we talk about the web design, right now we still see a lot of people doing a lot of writing and the website for direct sales. That is a really mass. People right now is getting lazy. I'm so sorry about those words, but it's the real truth. Nobody wants to read nothing at the moment. We are getting. I'm so sorry about my words, but it's true. People, it's getting ignorant on my point of view. But people don't want to read anymore. People want to see pictures, and those pictures needs to tell them to go to someplace. So you can use your website. You can use those little things with images, not videos. You can use YouTube for that if you want, or you can use the ads of YouTube. But you can use image and your website and the web app for your hotel. Upselling and give it experience. Okay, you can book the hotel. You're going to be for 3 nights, and we're going to set you for, I don't know, to be scuba diving, surf, go with the champagne, and I don't know, and the happy hour, and the first hour happy hour, we pay for you. Depends on the hotel, but that kind of things can increase. And even if you said that, for example, on social media, looking and have the data for the public that you have, for sure you're going to increase your direct sales. That's for sure. That always happens if you check the data. And that included the guest experience with the localization and destination. That is the best chance that you have to increase, because normally all the hotels are focused on sell what they have, what they include, but they don't include the destination as part of their ecosystem. And I think something that all of us need to think, and all the hotels need to think when people go to a hotel. Okay, if you're not a result all inclusive, they will go to a hotel most part of the time just to take a nap, go around, or maybe enjoy when they're tired to the swimming pool or take a drink at night. But most part of the time, they'll be outside of a hotel. So you can make revenue through your hotel and make a lot of revenue, not only with your room. So this is one of the kind of things the guest experience drive you through revenue. That some hotels don't see that point, and that is, I think, all the professionals on our area, on my point of view, we need to think as a destination, and the hotels as a unique place. And the hoteliers that see that in the first place, we're going to make more revenue than anybody on that destination, because they'll be able to sell the entire destination and get percentage of revenue. Doesn't matter. They will have. What is your opinion, guys?
For as long as hotels have existed, the number one reason why a guest chooses a hotel is because of the location, right? So Steve, you nailed it, right? What can I experience while staying at this hotel? So often we look inward, right? What's cool about my property? What's great about my beds? What's awesome about my bar, right? The reality is, while that may influence a guest, the bigger picture is really connecting your hotel to the destination, right? So, Steve, that was a really good point about the upsell in the customer journey and pre-stay. I would even say, earlier than that, right? If I were to acquire a new guest, how can I do that? Let's talk about the destination. Let's talk about why people are visiting the market. To Pablo's point, we often focus on those terms that drive the highest return on ad spend, right? Your hotel's name. But the truth is, that's not a new guest to me, right? And so if my goal is to acquire new guests or to shift share from another property, it's a great way to do it.
Thank you so much, Greg. I will go to the last question for Shane Robbins. That is a great question. Let's go. So, Shane, I love your question here. Direct revenue is the goal, for sure. It's always the goal. But what influences happen in the journey to turn lookers into bookers? I love it. Go ahead, man.
Cool. Thanks for the question. So I think a couple things here. I think it's very easy to say and very easy to understand. The booker journey is not linear. McKinsey put out a report a year ago, 36 days and 45 touch points is what a typical looker takes to become a booker. And we're talking about search engines, OTAs, your website, desktop, mobile, up and down, back and forth, right? So the journey is not linear. 93% of people that book direct have been to an OTA to look at your property. So I think one of the things, there's three things that are really important to look at that conversion from looker to booker. One, rates and distribution. So we talk about uniqueness. Uniqueness in rates, the rates you're distributing, uniqueness in your packages, right, on your website versus your OTAs, distribution variance. So, we talk about Booking, we talk about Expedia, but what about some of these niche OTAs that might speak more to personalization? Steve, you're a beer guy, right? There's OTAs that are focused on beer tours. There's OTAs focused on surfing. There's OTAs focused on pottery. There's OTAs focused on all sorts of stuff. There's things that are regional, things that are local. That distribution mix is important. So it's not just about the big ones that spend billions, but there's a lot of things out there we can help with your distribution, your packages, and your rates. Those are important. The other one's visibility, right? And so making sure that you are visible where people are looking. And this could be Google free booking links, if that's something you're looking at. This could be across paid ads on metasearch. This could be across those OTAs. But making sure that you're at least visible where people are booking and where people are looking is really important. And that's where some of the data comes in to try and experiment with your OTA distribution, try and experiment with some of your meta search marketing and some of your other digital marketing pieces, and find out where you're visible and how you're performing against those. But that visibility is key, because if you're not visible, you're not gonna be led down that path as a looker, right? So being sure that you're in that conversation. I think really the third one is, and we talked about this, is really the direct website conversion. I think, Vinny, you mentioned that, if you look at, we still see websites with fonts that are really hard to read, pictures that show like a street view, not a room, not any of the amenities, things that are small. The book now is buried. Right? They're not built for conversion. They're not built for visual, how we're visually attuned. I mean, think about every day, right? You're on YouTube, you're on Instagram. We're visually oriented more and more with the technology in our life. Making sure that your website speaks to that. The book now is there and visible in the right path for your property. If you're a big luxury resort, people are going to want to see the amenities. If you're a smaller independent or a motel, maybe people more care about the rates, right? So make sure you kind of experiment with where that is. But no matter what, you have the right booking engine that's going to help people understand the value they're getting on your direct website versus other OTAs as they're going through that path. The availability is very clear to them, and the booking behavior and the booking stages is very simplistic, right? And so making the more hoops that someone has to jump through, the less that they're going to book, right? And it becomes about trust and building that relationship. So I think those three things are really important when you look at how you're driving lookers to bookers and how you're being represented across that non-linear guest journey over that expanse. and that's continuing. Where that's it's becoming more and more like that post COVID, as people are looking for differentiated experiences, differentiated properties.
Maybe to top up on that, I think it's a great strategy. But also, like, do not forget the huge volume of customers that you pay for to arrive to your property and that you let escape. So many times, it's a given that you need to optimize everything that Shane has said, okay? But also think about how you can cater for the customers that are undecided. Because at the moment, everyone is focusing on making the booking process easy. That's great when you know perfectly what you want. But when you're someone like me that is always in need of help, it's often not enough, okay? And I will be really appreciative of the hotel that is actually able to guide me. Because you see, I spent the weekend in a 5-star hotel, and like, what I appreciated is that they were here to help me every step of the way. Like, and I don't always spend my weekends at 5-star hotels here because I was invited, it was free. But I don't have the money for 5-star hotels. But the idea is with technology, okay, you can deliver this kind of experience at no cost. Because the problem of 5-star hotels is that they do everything with humans, which is another problem altogether. But you see, one of the things that I would like to leave you with, if I can, okay, is make sure that your process of reservation is easy. But also try to understand what you can do to convince people to book with you, not only with the rate, because that's a given, etc. But actually, are you able to listen to your customers and understand what their problem is? For example, in booking engines, there is often a difficulty with multiple room booking. Here, like it's often easier to book multiple rooms on booking.com than to book multiple rooms at your hotel. Okay, often. Okay, so the idea is, do you have some help available for this kind of customers that would otherwise go because it is impossible for them to book 2 rooms at your property? Are you here to listen to the customers that want to add an extra bed if it is possible? Because many times, all of us here know how to book an extra bed at a property. You just leave a comment in the part of the booking engine for special requests. But many customers will not be able to trust this. So how open are your channels that are, not self-service, that are here for assisting the customers? How fast do you answer to this? And how, if you want to improve your ability to do that, what are the technological options that are available for you to deliver this kind of assisted experience? Sorry if I spoke too long.
Benjamin, just very quick comment. Now it's late. I totally agree with you, and especially multi-booking. But one key comment to me is, you can have the best booking engine, the best pictures, to comment chain, to everything perfect, and you can flash everything down the toilet because you are just signed up in Genius level 3 at the property and activated mobile discount in Expedia and Booking. And then all of a sudden you did everything well, you took the client to the finish line, and then you put the red carpet to Booking and Expedia. And that happens all the time. I actually had a personal experience a couple of weeks ago in spring break. I went with my family to Virginia, where I study at the university, and I stay at the Holiday Inn, which is Intercontinental Group, and it was cheaper booking through Booking.com. It is a no-brainer that a big chain such as Intercontinental, it is cheaper to book through Booking.com. And actually, it was able to use my $85 or $83 that I had in my wallet, which is like, you can do everything perfect. You can have assistance in the booking process. You can beautiful pictures, and then made a stupid mistake and let the OTAs win at the very last minute. And that happens all the time, not only big chains, but also, they're all independents, but also big chains.
And that happened for the last 16 years. Comes to that in travel tech, we speak all the time. Most part of the time, if we go for big chains, even if we go for all the big chains, most part of the time you find Expedia or Booking. If we not talking about Hilton, for example, but let's go for let's say for some strategical big chains with 50 hotels, or it's already big chains on each country. It's not international, maybe. If you go there, you see they always have better prices, and that at the end for me is a huge error on the revenue management team and the marketing team. And if they do that, if I'm the CEO, they're fired. And I don't understand why they keep doing that. And I don't understand why those persons keep and have their job. I'm so sorry
because
about
of data. Because of
I
data.
understand.
Yeah,
I really don't understand that.
I think
It's data, but it's, I was gonna say it's data, but it's also there into, I worked at Booking for 3 years and worked a lot with the chains team. There's a lot of really, really complex contractual arrangements they have to make sure to pass that revenue. And so they do that because they're not paying that same rate, that same commission that everybody else is. They have very complex agreements on parity and rates. And that's for those big chains. Yeah, for those big chains, it's an ROI model. They're like, well, this works for us. And that becomes really hard as it propagates out to independents.
Exactly. So that's not really a revenue management cost of a problem. It's a contractual problem, which then takes effect on revenue management, because those hotels lose control over the prices, because it's the OTAs that use the marketing budgets to manipulate with the price, because the contract allows them to do so. Yeah. So that's a completely separate issue that drives
that is illegal right now.
Not really.
There's gray areas.
No, but except for like,
no, not really. If it's contractual, it's okay.
If contractual is still okay,
we get it for the contract, etc. But what Pablo was saying is that in the majority of cases, there are mistakes that still happen that we shouldn't even be still talking about it in 2023. Yeah. I mean, but that's of course.
I actually, Benjamin, I have just last comment. I am a TripAdvisor Plus member, which is it was fun just to join and see what's going on there, and I mean. And I have no interest in TripAdvisor as an equity, but definitely you have so many deals in TripAdvisor Plus because it's taking rates from GDS and net rate channels, and even big brands, you can find better deals than big brands in their direct website, which is insane from a loyalty and consistency distribution view of the big chains. But from a client perspective, who cares? I mean, we could book this hotel for 30% off. I mean, I don't care who's giving me the rate, right? But I'm saving a lot of money. So there is a huge gap between e-commerce and distribution and revenue in many hotels, especially independent, but also big chains, because they are so big that they stop talking to each other and they're making independent decisions. So, I mean, the context is very complex from a hotel perspective. The technology is there. To me, what is missing most is the education, capabilities, and a single view for all the teams and an aligned incentive, so everybody gets the same amount of bonus or incentive when the hotel, the GOP, the bottom of the company works better. Not because I made my RevPAR goal or because I made my goal of whatever. That's the solution, but it's very easy to say, very difficult to implement.
Okay, guys, thank you so much to be here. Again, I apologize for all the attendance. I'm apologize with you, because I make the first time of my life with travel tech with 4 years, I make a huge mistake. I make all the attendance. I'm sorry for that. I'm going to turn around because we have a lot of people in the first Congress. It was my fault. And when I make something wrong, I assume when I do something wrong. That was my fault today. So I'm so sorry, all of you. I'm going to pass through of you to give 1 minute to say goodbye. Shane Robbins, Paul Batts, thanks to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Steve Cara. Welcome, man. Hope to have you next time. Also, Chris Gombinsky, my friend.
Thank you so much. Great talking.
Benjamin, see you and the EI on Thursday. I will do this again. It's the first time I make this bet thing to finalize a session. I never do that again. Never. It's the first time. Because we worked really hard to make this happen and make this kind of stupid things make me feel really bad. Pablo,
don't worry, I think the painting behind was way worse than the mistake.
Yeah, it's a very okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, it's a kind of. It's kind of. Okay, it's kind of a mistake. It cannot happen, but okay, it's the first time. Pablo, thank you so much to be here. Pablo, will be great if sometimes we have somebody from Irai to make a master class. Would be great. Also from Colbert, Steve Caron, also Benjamin. I already talked with you to do that. We're gonna. I also want to do that in French, Spanish, and English with you. Greg, I already invited you. You never accept. I hope you do this year. Chris, we're going to have with you this year. That's going to be for sure. Pablo, your turn to say goodbye.
Yes, to say goodbye. Okay, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much to be here, man.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I hope to see you all in Toronto. That'll be fun.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You guys
Have a great
Bye-bye.
evening of the day there. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.